Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Engaging Organization. I've been really excited about this session. If you are on Twitter at all, maybe you've seen there are some pretty cool things that people are doing to organize their week of lessons. And students enjoy it and appreciate it, I'm sure, because it's colorful, it's fun, it's all in one place. And as a parent, oh my gosh, I would love it if my kid had, here's your document, here are the things you need to do. So I could see, is this done? Instead of checking 100 different places like I feel like I'm doing, or just taking his word for it. So this kind of organization, as we look at the uncertainty that is coming in the fall, this is the kind of thing I want you to start looking at now. Practice a couple things, try it out with your students so that over the summer you can think, okay, here's where I want to start with. So I kind of have been keeping track of people who have been sharing some things. And there were 3 teachers who let me know they've been doing cool things, and they have. Atenea Benitez, Tate Raines, and Trisha Navarro. And they're going to share with us how they've been organizing lessons in their classroom. And then after that, I've got a few additional tips that might help you out. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I want to tell you, I created this using a choice board template. So I can click on any of these buttons and it's going to take me right to that section. Okay, so we're going to start with Atenea. Atenea, go ahead and tell us about what you've been doing.
Hi everyone, I'm Atenea and I'm currently teaching 6th grade at Blackstock. So when we started distance learning, in those couple of weeks that we were kind of thinking about what we were supposed to do with our students, I was thinking about the fact that my students have a hard time finding things in the classroom when I'm in front of them. So I wanted to make something more organized for them to be able to find it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've created a Google Slides, kind of like what Liz said, like a choice Google slide. And then from there, I put the whole week's work on there, the assignments, and you'll see right now how I do that. So that's what the first week looked like. I teach math and science, and I usually put week 1 so the kids know what week it is and the date, because I am putting this on Google Classroom, so I do not want them to get confused with it. So I do put the weeks. In the beginning of the slides, I always leave a note for what we're working on that week. I leave a note for when the Google Meets are, and just if they have AR reading that they have to do, I also put that in there. Also in the beginning, I do a whole calendar, kind of what they have to do each day. That way, if they forget or the parents want to know, they have each day set up. So like on Monday, they had a journal, expectations quiz, and then science vocabulary. And you will see that every day. Now that my co-teacher has worked with me, we actually put all of our schedule on my slide. So this one's the one I thought was pretty cool, because I remember when I used to work with Google Slides, I was frustrated that I have to click all the way to reach the certain slide, or the kids don't know how to work with it. So I created this so that the kids just get here, click the present mode, and they just click on the day that they're working on. So like, for example, I'm going to show you Monday. So you would just click on Monday and it'll take you to Monday. And then the kids have a journal every day. I try and give them a social emotional learning topic so that they can just write and feel free writing is what they enjoy. And I've noticed that they have really been appreciating that. So this is, if you were given one wish, what would it be? And I really laugh when I look at those. So what I like about this is I am able to give the instructions, the guide, or where they're going to be finding the answers, and then the quiz. I'm able to put this all in one slide, and the kids are able to notice this is for math, because I do label the topics for math. And people were asking if I could share my Google Classroom etiquette. So Liz clicked it there, and you can actually put your Bitmoji in there if you want to use it. The same with science. I have the subject area so that kids know that they're on the science part. I give them 3 words for this assignment. I gave them 3 words. And then I also give them an example of what their slide should look like. And they all turn this in through Google Classroom. Also, other things that I add to it, it's reading. So I add a timer for them to read. So they click the timer, 35 minutes. And then I also give them some websites that they can click to find books on. I am a big advocate of the kids working out. So I also, in between math and science, I put a little workout video, and the kids have to write how they felt after doing the little workout. And then at the end of the day, I put school's out, come back tomorrow for more learning. So I have learned that the students really enjoy having the assignments in one place. I do have them also in Google Classroom, but this is like the main part for them to see. The parents really enjoy it as well because they're able to work with the student because they're able to find the instruction in the same spot. And I have also learned to be more creative and engaging with my assignments because I myself, when I was in college, did not just like writing an essay. I like to be engaged. So whatever I like to do, I help my students and I try and motivate them a little bit more.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, while people may be putting in their questions for you, Atenea, can you talk about the timer that you use for reading? How do you get that?
Okay, yeah, I go into the Google Slides and then I click insert, and you can insert a video, a YouTube video. And I just search 35-minute timer, 45-minute timer. And then you just click it and then it'll just pop it into your Google Slides and you're able to move it wherever you want.
Well, Helen, are there any other questions?
No questions at this time.
Excellent. So Tate is a teacher at Hathaway. And Tate, go ahead and show us what you're doing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tate Rains, and for the past 2 years, I've been a third grade teacher at Hathaway. And I am just going to share a couple things with you that I've been doing since we started distance learning that have helped me and can hopefully help you to just stay organized and keep your students engaged with this crazy time of learning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do to organize the week for my students. There's two things that I'm going to show you, a home learning schedule and then a grade book that I've created both in G Suite, and then just some tips for you that, like I said, have helped me stay organized and on top of things throughout this time. So these are the two things that I've created on Google. This home learning schedule is created on Google Docs and this is on Google Sheets. So the home learning schedule is where I send students their kind of just to keep track of all their assignments for the week. And then the learning assignments grade book is where I keep track of what students are submitting, just to help me kind of stay organized and know what's going on. So I'll walk you through both of those. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the home learning schedule first. So as you can see, similar to Atenea's, I send home this every Sunday. At the top, you have the days of the week, and then on the side, we have our content areas, and then I just list their assignments here. It's just a place where they can see all their things at once. Some tips that I have about creating a home learning schedule is just to add some color and make it appealing. If you walk into my classroom, you will see that I have just about rainbow everything because I feel like it attracts the kids. So add some color to your things that you're sending home, keep them engaged, see if it makes a difference. Another thing that I want to suggest is to give them a focus. So if you'll see for each week, I have this week's focus, this week's math focus, this week's writing focus, and this week's weather focus, just to kind of tell them what they'll be learning for the week and keep them in the loop of what's going on, what I'm asking from them. Don't forget to keep integrated units in mind. So even though here I have all of my things separated into reading, math, writing, science, only because it's easier for them to see what I'm sending out, keep in mind that they are all related. So my reading responses are similar to my writing. If I'm talking about poetry, I'm having them read poetry. I might be having them for math, I might be having them count how many syllables are in the poem, things like that. So just because it's separated here on a spreadsheet that's easy to send home doesn't mean that we're not still incorporating those integrated units. Another key thing that I've found that I didn't do at the beginning but now realize is really important is to make sure that the title on your schedule, your assignment schedule or whatever you're sending home, matches whatever the title is through the thing that you're sending them their assignments. So I send all of my assignments on Seesaw. So when I send my assignments, if you see here, I make sure that my assignments on Seesaw, the name exactly matches the name in the Google the home learning schedule, just so that there's no confusion. There's no, wait, right here it says science video, but here it says Mystery 3 video. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, Miss Rains. Limit that confusion and just make it clear by having the same title for on all of your things that you're sending home. So that's my home learning schedule, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the grade book here. So this is a Google Sheet that I created. You will see that I have my students' names here and then my assignments at the top. Again, the assignments match the titles that are both on Seesaw and on the home learning schedule. And this is important and helpful for me, not only because it allows me to have my student, to see my student assignment completion rate. So I can see that Tim is slacking a little bit this week. He's only completed 25% of his assignments. Uh-oh, Andy has not done anything. I better get on the phone and call Andy and see what's going on. It just allows me to see participation. Keep in mind that this Google Sheet is tracking participation. I'm not using it as a grade sheet. That's why I just have checks. I'm just simply checking who is doing the work and who is not. The other thing that is super helpful for me on this Google Sheet is that I can see the number of submissions. So if you see down at the bottom here on my sheet, for math, I can see that only 6 people have done their homework. So it tells me who has not. And that's also helpful because it allows me to see or to keep track of, do I have the correct data? So does my number of submissions here on my Google Sheet match Seesaw's data? And if I go to the next slide, I'll show you what that means here. So if you're familiar with Seesaw, you will know that after an assignment has been sent to your students, you can see who has completed it and who has not. So it'll tell you how many responses have been submitted. And you want to make sure that for that assignment, here we go, emoji book opinion. I'm going to look on my sheet, emoji book opinion. I should have 12 responses, but I only have 3. So something's telling me that I need to go back and check this assignment to make sure I have I have given all my students credit for the work they've done. So the faulty number may just be there because you checked prior to students submitting the work or whatever, but I check every night, and then at the end of the week, I go back and make sure that these numbers match. So it's just a nice way to, again, make sure that you have the correct data. And then one last tip I want to share with you is, instead of creating a new spreadsheet each week for your assignment checklist, all you need to do is highlight everything on your current sheet. So just copy it all. I put your controls here. So for a Mac, it's Command A. For a PC, it's Control A. Just highlight everything that you have, copy it all, and then add a new sheet right here at the bottom of your Google Sheet. You'll see the plus sign, and you can see that I'm just accumulating the weeks down here. So instead of adding a whole new document, the students have the same link that they've gotten since the beginning of distance learning. So I just keep adding to it. And then each week they can click on the new week. It populates the new week already to the front anyways, but you can move these around and they can just continue to go back and see what they've submitted or what they still need to do. And then you just paste all of your previous info into the new sheet. So super easy way to just keep adding your checklist for the new weeks. And then really quickly, when you're creating a new sheet and just copying and pasting it all, it's going to paste the exact data that you have in there. So you're going to want to change the assignment titles and then also go back and uncheck these so that you're starting the week fresh with no checks. But instead of having to uncheck every one that you've checked here, you just have to uncheck the first box so that it creates a blue box around it, and then you put your little cursor at the bottom right of the blue box, and a little plus sign should appear if you put your cursor right here where this blue box is around the blue, or the blue square is on the outside of the blue box, and then you just drag that box all the way down to wherever all of your little check boxes are, and it will do the same thing as whatever's in that one box. So if you want to check them all, same thing, just check it and then drag that box. Or if you want to uncheck them all, just drag that box. So it'll just basically paste what you have in that one box to all the other boxes that are included in the blue square. So what I've learned so far is, or what I could tell you that has helped me, is that I send home the home learning schedule every Sunday, both to students and to parents. So if I'm just sending it to students, again, I'm just limiting that space of confusion and just making it clear and giving it to both parents and students so that there's no questions there, so that they have it for the upcoming week. And I include the checklist link every time. So it's not that hard to send the link. So I would just say save yourself the question and include them both each time. So even though the document isn't changing, like I said, because you're just adding a new sheet each time, if you just continue to send that link, you're limiting the questions that you're going to get back yourself. So on Google Docs or Google Sheets, when you share something, the other thing that I would say to make sure you do is to be sure to change your share settings to view only. You don't want to give students access to edit these documents. So just make sure you set it to anyone with the link can view. And I change it, instead of anyone at HESD with the link can view, I just do anyone with the link, because I'm sending it to parents also. And I don't know what browser they use or if they have Yahoo or whatever. So just anyone with the link can view is fine. And then, like I said, just make sure you keep them both as running documents for students who maybe didn't have a chance to complete all their assignments from the week prior, or for students who potentially are late to the distance learning game and are realizing that we are actually not on vacation yet. So just keep it going so that they can hop on and still see. Same thing with the Google Doc. Instead of adding a new sheet every time, I just scroll up and add a new page on the top. So as a new week comes in, I just add a new page on the top, but if they scroll down, they can still see all the way back to the very beginning. And that's all I have to share for you. And I just want to say that I know I threw a lot of information at you, but if you can't think of a question right now, no worries. Feel free to email me anytime, and I'm happy to help however I can. If it's setting up a document or dragging that little box to uncheck all your boxes, whatever it is, I'm happy to help. So just, there's my email, shoot me a message anytime, and I'm all ears.
Thank you, Tate. We do have some questions for you. You may have answered some of them, but it's not going to hurt to ask again.
Great.
One question, do you make your schedule a hyperdoc in Google Docs and then just insert into the slide?
I think it might help if you explain that you are sending a Google Doc. You're not putting it into slides at all.
Correct. Yeah. So this is all in Google Docs, and then I just copy the Google Doc and send the link to the document that way.
Do you ever worry about the students doing all the work in one day and nothing for the rest of the week?
No, because on Seesaw, I have it set. The assignments aren't sent out until the morning of. So I send all of Monday's assignments on Monday. They're scheduled for 8 a.m. And then all of Tuesday's assignments are scheduled Tuesday at 8 a.m. So, and I've had a conversation with them that if they don't get to Monday's assignments on Mondays and they need to do them on Tuesdays, that's fine. But I've just suggested that it's easier to stay on top of things and do 4 assignments a day than come be it Friday and have to do 16 at once or whatever. So no, I've created a setting in Seesaw so that they all go out.
Let's see, this teacher loves your weekly schedule. Thank you for sharing. How do you preserve student privacy when sending out the spreadsheet?
You know what, now I might just go back and change and take the names away and just leave the student numbers. You know, all my students are numbered. I have 28 kids, so I might just put, and they all know their numbers, so I might just take their name out and put numbers 1 to 28, and then they can see that way. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Tate. And that is all the questions. Thank you.
Great.
Excellent. All right, Trisha Navarro is a 6th grade teacher at Green, and Trisha had shared in a TST earlier, and we knew then that we were going to grab her back to share because she kind of mentioned this weekly schedule. So Trisha, go ahead and share with us what you've got.
Hey everybody. So yeah, my name is Trisha Navarro. I am a 6th grade teacher at Green. And I'm sure like many of you, I was super overwhelmed in the beginning of distance learning and I had no idea where to start. And so I knew that we, by we, I mean my students and I, we needed like a central location for all information. And I wanted it to be a working document so that students have the ability to go back and look at other work, whether it was to take notes or to review a video from a lesson. So I thought that Google Slides would be the best way to do that. So every day I post an assignment checklist, and I prefer to post it daily rather than give out a week's plan. And I like to color code the weeks because it helps break the slides up. I block the subjects, and I embed the direct links. And just a couple tips for you would be to duplicate the slides to save time, sorry. So what I do is, these are the first 2 slides in the beginning of our distance learning assignment slides. And again, I think that Google Slides is one of the best ways to offer just that place for, like, it's just a central location for all information. So students have the opportunity to come look at any of this information at any time. So I put a lot of our like important info with assignments and grading, daily office hours in case they had forgotten, ways to contact me, some of our video chat norms, and just some other important information that they would need. And again, they can access this at any time, and it's at the very front of our Google Slides. So this is the setup that I do. I use that first distance learning room 28. I always date the slide. So this is like the title slide, and then to follow would be the daily checklist of activities. And on the checklist, in the circle, I usually put some type of announcement, or I'll put some type of motivational quote just to kind of get them going for the day. And in the box, I put their assignments for the day. And as I mentioned, I like to block the subjects. That way they're not overwhelmed with all subjects at once. And I found that I just put the assignment here, and then I often embed links to go to the websites, which is really helpful. And not all of the click here are our websites. Some of them are just direct links back to our Google Classroom where the assignment is posted. I prefer not to put a whole lot of information on this slide. So the directions for the assignments are actually on the assignment. This is just an area to tell them like what they will be doing. So setting the expectation of what they'll be doing for writing or for math or for science or for the other subjects, and where to locate it. I also put, so this is like this is another week, the second week of distance learning. So I like to change the color, as I mentioned, because it's easier to separate. And in the little subject boxes, I put all the information they need to access the website or the assignment, as in how to get there. So for example, if it's like a brain pop video that I've linked, I make sure to include the like the login information because they always ask for it, and it's just all right there. So the link's there and the login information is there. So I use the same format throughout the week and throughout the entire distance learning schedule, I suppose. And all the assignments and subjects are changed daily, but I duplicate the slides, and it makes life so much easier. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. So let's just say I use this slide for language arts and history for next week, which next week was orange, or the week after was red. So I just copy and paste, or I duplicate the slides, and then I change the color, and it just makes life easier. A couple of things that I really, really enjoy is just that direct link. So I thought I'd put a slide in here to show how to do it in case you don't know, because it just makes life so much easier. So I copy the desired link that I want to do. And I was looking at a YouTube video for math. So I copied the link. I went back to my slide for this week, and I made sure to insert the cursor, or put the cursor where you want to insert your link. And then you can select up at the top of the toolbar, you can select insert, then click link. Or the shortcut is Control K on a computer, but I think it's Command K on a Mac. Go ahead, Liz. And then you just paste your link, and then you can type in any text that you want. I prefer to just use click here. It's just easier. I know that like when you use other words or something, at least for my students, I feel like they would get lost in the shuffle if I used any other words. So I just prefer to use click here for all assignments if it's a link outside of this Google Slides presentation. And then, so type in any words that you choose, also paste the link and then click apply. And then finally, your link will be added. I make sure to double check the link. That's something that I highly recommend. There was one time, I think at the beginning when YouTube, when we were still having problems with YouTube, I inserted the link and I told them, click here, do all of it. And then I logged on to Google Classroom and the announcements or the posts of the link doesn't work. It was just out of control. So I try to make sure that I click the link, make sure it works, whatever assignment it is, whether it's like Nearpod or Brain Pop, and that we're all good to go there. And then, as I mentioned before, I include the login info. So you'll see for science, they had to watch the video on Brain Pop. There was a login information and password, and then they clicked at the bottom to access the Nearpod lesson. And yeah, I love it because it's a central location for our all information. Google Slides is super user friendly, and I love that it's customizable. At first, I was going to try creating a distance learning plan or checklist on Google Docs, but I just don't think that Docs, at least for me, it's not as customizable as Google Slides is. So that's what I prefer to do, and that's just kind of how I have it all set up.
Super.
All right.
Thanks, Trisha.
So one of the teachers is curious what the slides look like in Google Classroom. So how do you post them?
What I choose to do is, in the beginning, I created one singular post. And this post is a post that I always move to the top, like as we continue on, as the day goes, or when somebody posts a comment on our classroom, that post gets moved down lower and lower. And so I move this post to the top, and students know that this is like the post because I put like distance learning plan, and I'll put a couple of announcements for that week if needed, or I'll put our plan for or the day that we're going to have a Google meeting. And I just continue to move this post up to the top. And so they know to click on that every day for their assignment.
This teacher keeps her assignments open-ended, but she has difficulty with students taking a long time to get around to completing assignments. Do you allow your students to turn in assignments late?
Yeah, so I have all of my assignments, they're technically due on Sundays at midnight. So they'll get their assignments Monday and they can work on them all the way up until that Sunday, and then submit them. Now, just because the date for the submission is comes and goes, students still have the opportunity to go back at any time and complete those assignments. So I've been doing like every other week on Friday, I'll do like a makeup day where I don't really assign any work that day, but I'll go back and I'll say, like, if you have not completed assignments for the last week or two, go back, take today, go back and work on them and submit them. That way you can still receive credit. So I've been pretty flexible with when students submit things. So I do give them the weekend and I give them after if they need it.
I am so glad to hear you say that, Trisha, because I think it's just so important that we all keep in mind not only what we're dealing with on a daily basis, but just what our families, especially families that are essential workers or are working or unemployed and dealing with everything that brings to the table, have multiple children at home, have connection issues. I think we have to assume that initially, if there are late assignments or students are struggling getting work in on time, that we need to assume first that there probably is a reason for that, and really seek out and try to help remove barriers. But I think as we move into next year, looking at that whole child mental, social, and emotional and academic is really, really going to come to the forefront. So thank you so much, Trisha, for your wise words.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions?
No more questions. Thank you, Liz.
Okay, so this might be the best part for some of you guys. Here are the templates. So here's what's going to happen. Here's Atenea's slides, Tate's Google Doc and her gradebook, participation record, and then Trisha's slides. All of them, I'll click on one. When you click, it's going to ask you this: do you want to make a copy? Yes, make a copy. It's going to do all its thinking and do all its good work, and it's going to make a copy. And then you can edit that copy on your own. So I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to watch for this blue circle to finish. That's your copy of the file. You can add in your student names, you can add in your assignments and all that kind of stuff. The same is true for their schedules also. Okay, you're not going to mess with them at all. Make a copy of it and then use it for what you'd like. So you've got those there. Similarly, there's a site that a lot of you know. There are two sites that I really, really like. One is Slides Carnival and one is Slides Mania. I went over to Slides Mania. These are a few of the ones that I grabbed from Slides Mania. This is the template I'm using today. This is a choice board like a movie theater. So it has 6 activity tickets, and you make each activity a little different. So you've got templates. These are going to take you, if you click on one of these thumbnails, here, I'll go here. It's going to take you straight to the website to see the page. Oh, good, this is done. Okay, so here's the whole, you put in the student names, you put in the dates and the tasks, and then you'll see the formulas are all set down here. So as soon as I start checking some, it's going to start counting. Okay, and the same is true over on the other side too. So this is exactly what Tate was using. Here's your template. I'll add something. If you click on this little arrow, you can just duplicate for the next week, and it'll duplicate the whole page and make a new page for you. So here's that gradebook template. Here's what the Slides Mania web page looks like. So I can slide down. I'm going to keep going. I know this frame has arrows, so I can look through and see what the slides are. I want you to be aware, these things are free, and the way websites offer things for free is because they have ads. So I want you to be really smart about noticing where there might be ads. And I want you to look for this button right here. This is Get Google Slides Theme. Okay, when you click here, see, look it, do you see that little X? That's telling me this is an ad. I don't want to click here. But I want to get the Google Slides theme. I like that she has ads because it means she can offer stuff for free. I just want to be smart and not click on ads if I don't want to see them. Okay, so this Get Google Slides theme, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to make another copy, but I'm going to show you here. When you click Get Google Slides theme, the next page that opens up has this use template. When you click that, it's going to make you essentially like what we did with Tate's gradebook. It's going to make you a copy of the slides. So the next screen you're going to see is going to look very familiar, to look like this. And it's automatically made you a copy. You can just change this. Come up to the file name, make that whatever you want the name to be, and then start editing your slides. So you can go to the website, get a template you like, and then just start changing it to meet your needs. A couple things I want you to really pay attention to. If you notice, using the same fonts makes it look really consistent. So pay attention to the fonts that they're using and use the same ones. Similarly, when you change the color of text, if you look, this color chooser should look familiar. These are the standard colors. They're custom colors, but when you're using a template, they're theme colors. So if I'm saying, oh, okay, Atenea's section is green, which green did they use? I don't have to guess because it's the green in the theme. So if you remember those theme colors, that'll help you make your design a little more consistent. So that's how you can grab a template and edit it. Here's what I want to remind you. This is really not as hard as it seems like it is. So I want you to keep in mind 3 steps. And the first most important step is have good content. Start with solid lessons and things you want your students to do. because saying, here's a really cute slide deck, but the stuff doesn't make sense and it's not stuff that helps students learn. We want to make sure we're focusing on having good content for your students. So start by mapping out what's the work you want them to do. After you've figured out the work you want your students to do, then start adding links. Trisha did a really nice job emphasizing how helpful it is to have all those links in one place for you, and then make it cute. Okay, then give it colors, give it pictures, give it the interesting and engaging stuff. But we want to remember good content, links to help them get where they're going to go, and then make it cute. If you spend your whole weekend making it cute and go, oh shoot, I don't have my lessons in there, you've probably used your time at the wrong end. Is that making sense? I just want to put that reminder in. One of the things that's helpful when you're looking at your content, this is a choice board template. And the first thing you want to do when you use a template is start to look at how the slides are set up. Okay, this is a really simple template, so I'm going to show you how it's designed. Look at this little button down here. That's the grid view. So we're used to the view where the slides are all stacked on the side, but there's also this grid view where you can see everything. Okay, so let me just talk through how this template works. First of all, I've got a title. Then I've got this screen. If I click on 1, it's going to take me here. If I click on 2, it's going to take me here. The 3 is linked to this slide. Now, let me add something. If I just made one example so that I'd have something in here. This is a Newsella article. If I wanted to add a slide here for a second piece of my activity 1, this is slide 4 right here. The 2 links to slide 4, all right? If I add a slide in here, it's automatically going to change this link to slide 5. So when I click here, it's linked to this slide, not whatever slide is in slide 4. So if you shift, I could drag these around and the links in the slides still work. So I think you see this setup. All of these buttons go to their individual slide, and then there's a go back. And then you get to the end, which you could personalize that to say whatever you want. So once you see how the template is set up, then you can start going in. What's my first activity? What's my second activity? What's my third activity? Maybe down here you would say, this week we're focusing on these activities are going to help you learn about, if they're all based on one topic. All right, so that's the basic makeup. You're going to start by thinking about what your content's going to be. Now, to add links, you can add links to websites, and this is what Trisha was showing earlier. You can link text, or you can link an object. All right, so you might have noticed on the slides there was an arrow. I can click on that arrow and it's going to take me somewhere. All right, so text or objects, you're going to highlight what you want to link, choose insert, and then link. Control K is the shortcut. You can link to slides though. Okay, so when you go to that link window, yes, you can paste a website there, but if you can see right here, it says slides in this presentation. You can link to another slide. So if you want this arrow, I want this to take them straight to here, or Atenea's Monday. I want Monday to take them to slide 4. It's the exact same process. You just go to insert, link, and then you choose slides in this presentation and tell it go to slide 12. And it's going to link to another slide. That's how the go back works, right? Go back just links to slide 2 or whatever it is. Another layer though, Tate was talking about the seesaw activity, make sure it's named the same. You can get links exactly to those tasks. So in Google Classroom, when you're in classwork, I didn't do a whole screenshot because it was so big, but in classwork, if you look next to each assignment, there's a 3-dot menu. Okay, you can see right there the 3 dots. You have edit the assignment, delete the assignment, copy link is one of them. So if I'm making my weekly schedule, for math, you're gonna go to Google Classroom, here's your assignment, put the link right there. So when they're ready to go to math, they can click there, it's gonna take them into Classroom exactly to that assignment. So you've got that link. And then in Seesaw, it's very similar. In Seesaw activities, This is the 3-dot menu in the bottom right corner of the Seesaw activity. You have Get Activity link. So if you're putting do this Seesaw activity, just put the link right there and they can click and it'll take them straight into Seesaw. So these are all links that you can be adding to your, maybe my example here, this was a Newsella article about Baby Yoda. Maybe after this, I want them to go to Seesaw and complete something. I could just put this, put another arrow or another page, go to the Seesaw activity or go to the classroom. All right, so you can use your links to help people go in the right direction. So we've talked about templates, looking at the structure of the template so you can add your content, how to add links, and then the fun stuff. You can add images in the insert. I use this, search the web all the time. I want a picture of this. I am pretty sure I searched Baby Yoda to get a picture and it just inserts it right away. I also did a Google Slides training a couple weeks ago, and I went through a lot of the how-tos. So this right here is going to take you to the Google Slides that has how to add an image, how to add animation, how to use a template, how to add links. So these resources are here for you too. The other thing I want to mention, I think it was Trisha that mentioned making a copy of the slides for the next week. If you're doing a slide deck, you can make a copy of the entire presentation. So if you're going to be using something for the next week, use this, make a copy of the entire presentation for the next week, and then just rename it and make your changes. All right, so that's a few things quickly about how you can start customizing that slide deck. The next thing I'm going to tell you about is how to share your product. But Helen, are there any questions so far I should stop for?
Couple questions and 4 requests for another training on Google Slides. Although that chart you showed with all the links is super valuable. Can you link PDFs?
Yes. So if a PDF, you store it in your Google Drive, get that share link on the PDF from your Google Drive and put it in, yes.
And can you link Google Classroom activities that are scheduled, meaning not live yet?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't tested it.
And can you search in Slides Mania?
You know, I don't think you can. I don't think there's a search function, but I know that all her choice boards and weekly agenda things have all been pretty recent. The last thing I want to talk about is how to share it, because we get this question all the time. How am I going to share that with my students? And of course, that's pretty important. There are a ton of ways, and some of you might have already found a way that's different than what I'm going to show, but I want to show you one thing that I think is pretty cool. So of course, when you're in your template, you're going to go to the share button. You're going to copy the link. If you need to get shareable link, you can get shareable link. If it's going to families don't have HESD accounts. So you would have to click, sorry, I'm hiding the little arrow, and then click on more. So when you click on that arrow, you see your HESD options. If you click on more, you're going to see a bunch of them. And the second one down, anyone with the link is the one you want. So you could change that to an anyone link if you need to. Here's the thing that I think is cool though. If you look at that super long Google link, at the very end, it says edit. Now I don't want you to freak out, because if you chose view, it's still going to say edit, and that's okay. All right, this doesn't mean that they can edit, but what you want to do is change that word edit to preview. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a second what that did. This is also, by the way, how I made the templates so that it automatically makes a copy. Okay, I just changed this word to copy, and then it forces a copy. But you want to change it to preview in Google Slides, and I'm going to show you what that does. With the regular link that says edit, they're going to get a view that looks like this. Okay, they won't have all these tools. It'll just say view only, but they see the slides over here. They see all this. Okay, if you change it to preview, this is the view that they get. And they have, I mean, it still has the address bar and everything, but all they have is the control down here so they can arrow through. So if you just want them to see the slides, changing that link to preview just makes it look nicer. So it's not quite as distracting. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but it's a cool little trick. All right. Now, once you have that link, you're going to share it. If you're using Seesaw and you go into the journal and you just want to add the slides or the doc to their journal, you're going to go on all those creative tools, you're going to choose link, and you're going to paste the link. Okay. When you do that, Seesaw is going to go, hey, this looks like it might be a Google. Do you want to open it in Google? Say no. If you do it to Drive, it's going to change your slides into a PDF and it's not going to work. So just post the share link. So you've got the link, you're going to add the link, and then you're going to say, nope, continue, no blue Google, don't be helpful right now, and then add it in. You can also add it as part of an activity. So if you want your slide board to be part of an activity, right down here where it says add multimedia instructions, and I think it's template, you can add that link again. Okay, again, when you click here, it brings up all your creative tools. Don't upload, use the link and add your share link. And then same thing, oh, example, multimedia instructions or example. And then again, if that, hey, this looks like it's from Drive, let's help you use Drive, say no, thank you, continue, and just use the link. All right, so that's how you're gonna share these Google Slides in Seesaw. If you're in Classroom, same thing. You can just use that link and it's gonna bring up your slides, particularly if you've changed it to preview, just use that link. All right, now this might be something you want to be an announcement, that you want it just to be, here's your link, here are your slides. It might be something that you want to be an assignment. Okay, so posting the share link in Seesaw, you're gonna use the link. Posting it in Classroom, same thing, you're gonna use the link. Questions about sharing?
If you are doing a choice board on Google Slides and you post it to Seesaw and you're posting the link, does this avoid having to publish it to the web first? She's heard that you have to publish your slides to the web first before adding it to Seesaw.
I think both ways work.
Okay.
I added the link and the choice board seemed to work, and the buttons worked. But if posting to the web is what someone's been doing and that works for them, don't change it.
Also, there was a recommendation for Kami.
Yes.
Right, it's amazing for using PDFs. Students can annotate directly on them, and I know for a fact, I think that's free right now during the.
Sure is. It sure is, and I believe anyone with an with a Wynebe.org or an hsdschools.org email account who signs into Kami should get all the premium features.
So right now, students on this teacher's Google Classroom just see a list of assignments. Is this just a fun way for kids to see assignments, or is there another reason to make the slides?
So, and maybe Trisha, Tate, and Atenea, if you want to chime in here, my thought is organized, the links are all in one place, and then it's a little more colorful and visually engaging.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what I like about it is just that centrally located information. And it just helps with organization and with us not being with our students to like how we would normally help them organize their binder or their folders or their notebooks. I think Slides offers that opportunity to help them with organization and just kind of take that aspect out of distance learning so that they don't have to worry about it.
I just saw a blog post today that was Google Slides are this generation's trapper keeper.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. I'm really liking it because my resource students are really able to follow the Google Slides. And the resource teacher, which I work with, she's also able to join in and follow it, and I don't have to explain it as much to her.
And I would just say that I feel like doing it this way, I mean, if you already have your own system and it works for you, great, stick with it. We're already quite a ways into distance learning at this point, but it is much more of a visual way of learning. So think about your visual learners who like want that thumbnail or the preview of the Google slide. Like it just is kind of more visual than just sending the links out or having them all in an organized list. So it's just something to think about.
Thank you, everybody. That is all the questions.
Good. So listen, I wanted to close. Tate is exactly right. We're halfway through this, you guys. We're doing it. But I also want to remind you, this is a great time to try something out. If you're thinking this might be something that would help you next year, I think I want to try a doc or a slide deck to get some of that home stuff organized. This is a fantastic time. And this is true when you're full-time in the classroom also. Spring is the best time to try new things, because if they work great, you can keep refining them over the next 4 weeks, and then you've got your summer plan. If they totally don't work, you're not stuck with it for the rest of the year. You've used something that didn't work and go, all right, let's try something different. And then you're done in 4 or 5 weeks. So this is the time to try something out, see how it works, and then ask your students, was that helpful for you? Did that help you keep things together? See if you get better participation. But trying something right now, first of all, freshens it up a little bit for your students. And second of all, helps you focus what your summer project might be. How do I want to set up my curriculum for next year? This might let you troubleshoot some things you're thinking about trying. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tate and Atenea and Trisha, for sharing what you're doing. The beautiful thing about these trainings not being by someone who's not, 20 minutes away potentially, is we're always available. We're accessible here in our Team Wainini family. So keep in touch, ask questions, try out some choice boards. I know we have some people on this training who aren't classroom teachers. We have administrators, we have RSP teachers. There are so many applications for this kind of using slides to get content with the links and with the directions. It's really kind of exciting to see where it can go. All right. So thanks everyone. Have a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll see you later.